He saved a dying alien beast and awoke the interest of the galaxy's most feared woman. Jackson Vale's salvage scanner pinged 3 times before he bothered to look up from the ration pack he'd been pretending was food. The debris field around Targus 7 was picked clean. Every scavenger in contested space knew that. But the readings didn't match wreckage signatures. They matched something biological, something massive, something dying. He brought the scanner closer, his scarred fingers adjusting the frequency. The life sign pulsed weakly, erratic. Whatever it was wouldn't last another hour. "Not my problem," he muttered, keying the thrusters to move on. The ship didn't move. His hand hovered over the controls, jaw tight. 3 years of salvage work, staying invisible, staying safe. 3 years since the court-martial, since they'd stripped his rank for the crime of saving enemy wounded. He'd learned his lesson about playing hero. The life sign flickered, fading. Damn it. He redirected toward the coordinates, weaving through twisted metal and frozen coolant clouds. When he finally saw it, his breath caught. The creature lay sprawled across a shattered cargo platform, easily the size of his entire ship. Gray fur matted with dark blood, multiple eyes half closed, flanks rising and falling in shallow gasps. A Shrike-wolf. He'd only seen them in tactical briefings, apex predators from Valcor space worth more than a colony world. Jackson maneuvered close, cycling through his mental catalog of xenobiology. The plasma burns across its hide were severe, 3rd degree at least, internal damage likely catastrophic. He had basic medical supplies designed for humans, not for whatever cocktail of alien biochemistry kept this thing alive. He should leave, report the location, collect a finder's fee, disappear. Instead, he grabbed his medical kit and suited up. The creature's breathing rattled when he approached, one massive eye cracking open to track him. Predatory intelligence flickered there along with something else. Pain. Resignation. "Easy," Jackson said, his voice steady despite his hammering heart. He placed one gloved hand on the creature's shoulder, feeling the heat of fever beneath the fur. The eye watched him, waiting for the killing blow that would be mercy. Jackson opened his kit instead. The work consumed him. He'd done field surgery in worse conditions, burning buildings, combat zones, once in 0G with a hull breach 3 meters away, but never on something that could swallow him whole if it woke up cranky. He adapted what he knew, injecting broad-spectrum antibiotics mixed with synthetic plasma, using a laser scalpel to debride the worst burns, sealing tissue with bonding agents that hopefully wouldn't poison alien cells. Hours blurred together. The moon of Targus 7 rose in the viewport, casting silver light across his workspace. Jackson talked while he worked, a habit from too many emergency rooms. "You're lucky I'm stubborn," he said, checking the creature's pulse. Multiple hearts, all weak but strengthening. "They kicked me out for this, saving the wrong people. Guy I patched up had killed 3 of my squad mates, but he was bleeding out and I had the training." He injected another dose of stabilizers, watching the creature's breathing even out. "They said I broke the chain of command, violated protocol. Maybe they were right." The Shrike-wolf's eye opened again, focusing on him with eerie clarity. "But I couldn't watch someone die when I could do something about it. Still can't, apparently." He worked through the night, monitoring vitals, adjusting treatments, preventing the slide into shock. Dawn light filtered through the debris field when he finally sat back, exhausted. The creature's breathing had stabilized. Burns showed early signs of healing. It would live. Jackson slumped against a support beam, every muscle aching. He should feel relieved. Instead, dread coiled in his gut. Shrike-wolves didn't roam freely. They bonded to Valcor warriors, the most dangerous military force in known space. Whoever owned this beast would come looking. As if summoned by the thought, his proximity alarm screamed. He lunged for his scanner. 6 ships, no, 8. Valcor warships, their silhouettes unmistakable, decloaking from active camouflage in perfect formation. His salvage ship was a gnat by comparison. They'd been watching, waiting. "Of course they were," Jackson said quietly. He stood slowly, raising his hands as armed soldiers materialized around him, their armor black and red, weapons trained on his chest. They moved with lethal precision, securing the area in seconds. None of them looked at him. All eyes were on the Shrike-wolf. The soldiers parted like water. She walked through them with the same predatory grace as the creature he'd just saved. White hair fell past her shoulders, stark against skin marked with red patterns that seemed to shift in the light. Feline ears tracked every sound, and a tail moved in slow, measured sweeps. She wore fitted armor that suggested rather than hid the deadly form beneath, and her eyes, amber and ancient, fixed on Carrick's with an intensity that made Jackson's chest tighten. For a long moment she said nothing. She knelt beside the shrike-wolf, one hand resting on its massive head. The creature rumbled, a sound between purr and growl, and pressed closer to her touch. Something passed between them, wordless and profound. When she finally looked at Jackson, her expression was unreadable. "You saved him," she said. Her voice was smoke and silk, accented but clear. "He was dying." "Yes." She stood, and suddenly the space between them felt very small. That happens when plasma fire tears through vital organs. Most would have let nature take its course. "I'm not most people." Her head tilted slightly, studying him the way a predator studies prey, or the way a scientist studies an anomaly. "No, you are not." She moved closer, circling him slowly. Jackson held his ground, though every instinct screamed to retreat. "I am Seraphix," she said, "commander of the 3rd Fleet. Carrick's has been bonded to me since I took my first command." Jackson Vale, nobody of consequence. A lie. She stopped in front of him, close enough that he could see the individual markings on her skin, smell something like cinnamon and danger. "You operated on a shrike-wolf with equipment meant for humans. You stabilized him against impossible odds. You stayed, though you must have known we would come." Leaving seemed rude. The corner of her mouth twitched. It might have been amusement. It might have been something more dangerous. "You will accompany me," she said. It wasn't a request. "Carrick's must recover fully. You will ensure this happens." "And if I refuse?" She leaned in, her breath warm against his ear. "You won't." It wasn't a threat. It was certainty, absolute and terrifying. She pulled back, gesturing to her soldiers. They moved to transport the shrike-wolf, working with careful efficiency around the massive creature. Seraphix turned to leave, then paused. "I'm grateful, Jackson Vale. In my culture, debts are paid in full." She walked away, her tail swaying with each step, leaving him standing in the wreckage with armed guards and the growing certainty that he'd just made either the best or worst decision of his life. Probably both. The flagship's interior was nothing like Jackson expected. He'd imagined cold efficiency, sterile corridors designed for war. Instead, the walls held a dark metallic warmth